Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dogpro Supreme Open Top 10 final. First out on course is Mr. Simon Leaning. Simon's got his eye in this morning doing commentary for you all. Simon and Twister walking out on course, and we'll see how he goes, what he gets sheep-wise. The sheep have been a bit interesting this weekend. They've been challenging to dog and handler. And that's the start of this trial. Simon and his team have travelled over from Western Australia. Twister was just in here giving us a bit of a visit before, just chilling out, getting prepared. Simon's just trying to get Twister on to introduce himself to the sheep, so the sheep don't run off him. And they know Twister's there now, and he's going to try to bring him back in as calm a fashion as possible. The Supreme course is 15 minutes for each handler. Once the judges have deemed the dogs picked up the sheep, they have a 9 metre corridor to bring the sheep back to the handler. And ideally they'll bring the sheep back. Twisty will bring him straight back here and down to the next gap. Has to be across this line here before Simon can leave the casting peg. Marianne Vale's actually Simon's prefix, so Twister's one of the dogs that he's bred. He actually looks, I haven't checked with Simon whether Twister's out of dye, but he looks very much like Marianne Vale dye does. And I'm sure someone will jump on the live stream and correct me if I'm wrong. So if you jump on there, make sure you comment and tell us who you're going for. I'm sure there's a heap of people from WA watching Simon. That sheep's not too happy with Twisty just yet, so he's going to do his best just to get him to calmly move. He's tried to make a little break, and he's going to make a break towards the centre like all the sheep have been doing when they could last week or so. Taking a bit of ground off Twister. Once Simon's left his set, that first hoop you can see on the ground, he has to walk at a constant pace along this line. He has to actually stay, ideally he'll get the cones under his feet, those little tennis balls with they're sitting on top of the cones. And when he gets to the next set, he'll be able to progress his sheep through the gap. At the moment they're nicely on course. They'd be within 9 metres of him, so he'd want to be within 9 metres of the handler. Fortunately, they've just gone past the gap there. Simon looks like he's got him through the gap and he's going to move off. So fortunately for Simon, I should say, they've gone through and he'll move on to the next section of the course. There's been a strong draw for the sheep down to the let out. A judge is just standing behind Simon. They've made a point of telling everyone that they need to walk in a straight line. They cannot walk off those cones. They will be pointed if they walk off those cones. Twister's doing a nice job here, keeping them on course, keeping them in touch with Simon. Just has to get them through the gap without them deciding to do any funny business. You see Twister's got a nice lead and they've come straight through. Simon's got to be pretty happy with how this is going so far. And Tony is going to come back to me whether Twister's out of die. But of course, there's always going to be a challenge at some stage from the sheep. But Twister's got him pretty much under control. Oh, that's unfortunate. A couple have gone down the side, just stealing some points. This is what they've been doing all weekend, just stealing a couple little points. But Twister's got him back on track. You got one looking up the, a couple of them thinking about it. They know there's a gap there and they're going over. That's really nice. Simon will just send Twister around to say, hey, I'm still here, guys. You can see Simon's got this walk now. There's a bit of weight over his right-hand shoulder as the sheep will want to run past. Doing very nicely there. Brought Twister around just to stop them running back down the course, which is what was happening, or what's been happening for all competitors this weekend. He'll just try to keep Twister with him. Twister's having a nice effect on these sheep. You can see he's walking in his straight line that he's got to walk. You can see Simon's keeping the sheep with him. He just wants Twisty to cover that gap they've all been going through, which Twisty's managed to do quite nicely. And he's going to get him to go straight in. Based on what he saw at the Wellego Cup, he's going to go for the gate straight away before those sheep even have a thought about coming out. And that's a pen for Simon. He's going to be so happy with that. Next on course will be Ben Simmons with Depla's Charlie Parker. Now Ben flew back from Western Australia, from South Australia, to on Friday night, and he's made the final. He's come into the final in 3rd place, so he was surprised he'd make it that far, but he's pretty happy to be here. So Simon had a score of 81 from George Roy and an 84 from Ken, giving him an average of, my brain has just fried, what's that, 82 and a half? Yeah, someone will tell me I'm wrong. So he's actually in the lead, which is understandable, his first dog out. I think there could be a few people cheering now for Ben. Ben's cast Charlie the opposite way to where everyone else has gone today. I'll just make sure he gets around him. He's done a good job there. The sheep have had a bit of a split, so he won't. Well, isn't great, but he's managed to get him settled now. Pretty sure there's a cheer squad out there. I'd hate to see them yelling at your TV. So the sheep have actually run right up the course. So one of our more educated people will explain how that part of the course works, but they're right in front of the window here, so I can't really show them to you. Ben's just got, here they come. Ben's got Charlie just to drop down. So they're not quite past that peg there. They need to be past the peg and the extension, so they actually have gone past there, and they haven't yet, even though my line's not straight. Ben will just try to get Charlie Parker to calm the farm. So they're just in front of our judges there. They're just they've gone past the balance point, so he can leave, but he probably wants them to settle. Some competitors have managed to get to this point. It's taken them 4 or 5 minutes, 6 minutes sometimes, and in doing so, they've done got the sheep nice and compliant. But these sheep have just run straight off Charlie Parker. So Ben's just trying to get them to be bit more forgiving of Charlie Parker, so he can get Charlie Parker to go around behind him and bring him back on course. Simmons Manley, what do you call Charlie Parker in your day-to-days? Thanks, Antonio. Charlie, pretty obvious. Well, the sheep are still really running off Charlie Parker, and he hasn't been able to let them know that he's not going to harm them if they do the right thing. So they're in a lot of flight mode at the moment. I'll just have a bit of a quiet laugh. I won't repeat that one. Chuck E. Cheese. So they're finally becoming a bit more compliant, but Charlie's doing a good job of keeping them on that in the correct area, lining them up so that they've just gone through the gap. Ben still has plenty of time up his sleeve, so he'll just work his way to the next obstacle. Which is the race. Commentator, well, it's Danny Rubin at the moment. We'll have John Cantrell joining us fairly soon. He's just got a quick message from me to come and give me a hand. So Ben's in his set now. He's got Charlie Parker just getting the sheep to calmly have a think about moving off him. And that's nicely done. The sheep are still running off Charlie Parker a fair bit. Hasn't got him to calm down. Lined up, but they've done a bit of a bolt for the centre of the course, like they've been doing all weekend. Not sure why they're just choosing to go to that area of the course, but they are. So I'm sure this is what Ben would have liked to happen at the start of this round. The sheep have just been really running off Charlie Parker. Now they're sort of getting a bit of understanding that I'm not going to harm you. Just if you can go the way I'd like you to, everyone will be happy. They're still feeling pretty threatened and not even looking to go over the bridge at the moment. One on this side's had a bit of a look towards us. Thanks, Simon, and happy birthday to Simon Wallace over in Western Australia. He's got a looker, and we're popped over the bridge, and they've decided that no, we're still not, don't want to be near Charlie Parker. We'll make a bit of a runner down the course. Charlie was good enough to block them though, so they didn't get too far away. Had them sort of lined up, but they've made a runner down that centre of the course again. There's a real draw back to that let-out area. So they're back, almost back on course. They've just got to go over those cones that they're just going over at the moment. Ben's still got time up his sleeve, but they're just going to be difficult and go where they want to go. Charlie's up to it though. Just going to steal someone's dog that keeps coming on to visit me. Got him nicely set up now. So Ben's just getting him to settle before he decides to leave his set. They're not interested in popping out like they were in the Trans-Tasman that was on earlier today. And that's nicely completed his course. Ben's pretty happy. He's got Charlie Park got to jump up. Gives him a cuddle, gives him a pat, and we'll see what score he has. And Tony, I think it's Thank Dog that you mean. Next on course is Stefan Cross with Echo Park Bazza. I think it's Bazza that was going to try to actually visit me in between. So I'll speak to Stefan whether he's mine or not. Sun's out at the moment. It's 17 degrees, so it's looking like it's a bit warm out there, but Mr. John Cantrell has joined us. His first couple of runs have been done, and John can add some expert comments.
All right, thanks, Danny. We've got Stefan Cross from South Australia coming out with Echo Park Bazza. Stefan bred Bazza. He's a bit of an older dog now. I'm not sure exactly of his age. I can't remember, but he's a very experienced dog, as is Stefan. Numerous South Australian representing honours in the Ted Gaby competition and test match honours as well. Judges signal time on. Stefan's just deciding which way to send him out to the right he's going. Sheep is settled just at the end of that let-out rope. just peeling across the ground towards our right as Bazza comes down to meet them. So of course we're back on the Supreme course now. Just had the conclusion of the test match on a Trans-Tasman course. So this is the top 10. This is the final, this is the big one, this is what we're all here for. To see who the winner of the 2026 Dogpro Supreme Australian Championship is going to be. It's a great competition. Sheep have been testing this week, and now we've got the 10 best competitors in the country with their dogs trying to take home the trophy. Danny just helped me out. Baz is 10 years old now. Still in great shape for an older dog, just as the sheep are making it a little bit difficult for him, peeling down that fence towards the let out. Managed to squeeze them off. He's going to want to drag them up towards Stefan in as straight a line as he can. The sheep might have something to say about this as they come across the ground towards the centre again. Slowly leaning up towards Stefan, that's a better start. Got hold of them now. Let's hope he can keep them settled. Slightly warmer day today here in Stanthorpe. Humidity's picking up just a little bit as the dogs are working through this final event of the championship. Still not making it easy for Bazza. Just trying to take him on a little tour of the ground. He's got them still leaning up towards Stefan. Stefan also had the privilege this week of representing South Australia in the Ted Gaby competition at the start of the week. And now he finds himself here in the final. Sheep coming up to the delivery area. Just still putting some pressure on Bazza. Just a roll back down the ground. And if this is the first time you've heard or seen our YouTube coverage, it's a 15-minute course, so what that means, he's got 15 minutes to complete the course. So right now, starting to eating just a little bit of time already. That's looking better now. Across the balance marker, so when Stefan's ready, he's allowed to step off now and head down towards the first obstacle, being the gap down the bottom of the ground. Just letting the sheep look at Bazza, just trying to settle a little bit. That middle sheep at the moment doesn't want to take his eyes off the dog. The other two are looking around a bit. Can we get away over to the right? Can we get away down towards the centre of the ground? Stefan's making his assessment as well. When you watch the more experienced handlers like Stefan, one of the other things that you'll see these handlers do is show a lot of patience. That time spent early, gently introducing the dog to the sheep, trying to move them softly, keep the dog soft on the sheep, will most likely pay off later in the run. Like they say, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. It's not a race, you don't have to do the course as quick as you can, you just have to complete it before the 15 minutes elapses. And you can see now Stefan's just quietly moving Bazza. No sudden movements. Stefan's away. Little mill from the sheep, just a little bit push back. Just coming around the inside of that casting peg. Strong run down from the hill for the sheep. Baz is wheeling them right where they need to be. They're just a little bit far away from Stefan at the moment. He'll try and hold them, try and catch up, and then work them towards the obstacle. Now when Stefan leaves the casting peg for his first obstacle, he's not allowed to stop walking. So if the timing of those sheep end up on the line when Stefan walks past, he has to keep walking. But we'll see how he plays it out. He's very experienced. See, Bazzy's a good strong dog. He's holding his head up high. See that little balk? That was just at Stefan as he was coming through. He's a tall gentleman, Stefan. He has a lot of presence on the ground as well. Sheep are just falling in behind. He'd like to get them back on course. They're still off course at the moment on that left-hand side of the line. Stefan's not panicking. You can see his demeanour's still quite cool. So just about to step into the set, the hoop next to the obstacle, as Bazza comes around a clockwise run, try and meet the sheep and pull them up. Probably just ducked down below the level of the right-hand panel of that gap at the moment. Stefan's going to try and wheel them back as they go past the judge, Roy Pottercarey. Just starting to lean on that fence a bit. Just camped up in the shade of that gum tree. Starting to peel off the fence. They're just coming uphill. I'd like to see them start to angle down towards Stefan at the obstacle. You can still see Stefan's keeping cool and keeping Bazza calm as well in his movements. You've probably heard the sheep have been pretty testing all week and they haven't really let up yet. So Stefan's well aware of the need for the dog to be soft on his stock. Darting across back towards the centre of the ground. Baz is coming in to meet them. Try and pull him up, he does. Quick dart down towards the let-outs now. Baz has got his work cut out. Just pulling up at that gateway. And they know all the rest of the sheep are behind those gates and the Dogpro signs. As Bazza comes in, just trying to squeeze them off. They're having to trot along the fence again. It's been very difficult down that bottom corner towards around the gap area. Just got them shaved off the fence now. It's coming out of the shade of the trees. This is looking a bit better right now. Now if they go through the obstacle in the reverse direction, that's okay. What Stefan will need to make sure he does is that they clear that obstacle completely before he gets Bazza to push him through in the correct direction. So they're kind of placed nicely at the moment. Let's just see what the sheep think. They've had a bit of a look. They might roll through. Not quite. They're going to push towards Stefan and the edge of that left-hand panel. No, they're just still gliding past that gap at the moment. They haven't really had a look. They're finding it hard to take their eyes off the dog. Baz has been doing a great job, being very calm on his stock, which is what they certainly need this week. Little spin around the outside of the right-hand panel, back on course now. They're going to make a little break for it towards the centre of the ground again. Putting the hammer down towards the let-out yards. Baz is there on the shoulder of that lead sheep. Oh, he's nearly taken the paint off that back fence. Making their way back to the gap now. They're still just hanging on the downhill side of that obstacle. Here they go. Leaning on that inside line. Baz is there to meet them. Darting around the outside again. They are not giving any free points away. It's going to have to earn every one of them to keep them. Just reminding some of our viewers, the scoring system works that as you step out to the peg, you have 100 points. And then points are deducted for any mistakes or misdemeanors along the way. So currently these sheep are what we call off course because they're not on that correct side of the obstacle to negotiate it, and this is the battle that Steph and Bazza have at the moment. So unfortunately at the moment this is really starting to chew into Stefan's time. Now they're through, and we'll keep our fingers crossed that they remember that. They're going to try and make a break again. Inside the course, fortunately Bazza held them up. They didn't make a break for the let out, so we'll see if we can just gently roll them towards the gap. Just a little trot from that lead sheep. It's funny sometimes watching these sheep this week, I've noticed that leader tends to put themselves in the middle, furthest away from the dog, but it's also quite easy for that sheep to influence the other two. Again, they're dragging Bazza back down towards the let outs, towards the gate they came from. I tell you, Stefan's doing a great job staying composed at the moment. This would be frustrating. Bazza again with his head up. He's trying his best for Steph right now. Making their way back. Just leaning on Bazza again. Nice position there. Here we go. Well done. Got them through the first stage being the gap. Now Stefan stepped off towards the race. So it's a good decent carry across the race. Sheep are on course right now. This is going to be a challenge. Beg your pardon, they're just below the course. I can see they went outside that marker. But this is the challenge now, going across from the gap to the race, because all the let out yard and the sheep are all down on that right hand side, as you've seen the sheep run to a few times behind the Dogpro sign. Probably about halfway across. They're just a little bit further ahead of Stefan than you'd like. But they're still moving forward, so you'll take it. Try and get Bazza to pull him up as he approaches the obstacle. Now he needs to make sure he's in the set before the sheep complete the obstacle, but they're just outside it now. Little battle. Little left, little right, Bazza's there. 2 in, 1 down the outside. All 3 sheep have to successfully negotiate the obstacle before you move forward. Stefan will bring them back around, but he's still aware of that pull to the let out yards. Sheep have still got an eye on it. Bit hard to tell from this angle. Just outside the bottom wing of that obstacle. I'd like to just roll them into it now, but it's a little roll away. Little break, 2 are in, 3 are in. And that's time for Stefan. Great effort this week, Stefan. First round, second round on Tough Sheep and made the finals. An awesome effort all the way from South Australia. Stefan Cross and Echo Park Bazza. So coming out next to the peg in the 2026 Dogpro Supreme Australian Championships final, it's Matthew Parsons and Gibson's Villain. Matthew from Collie Creek Kelpies. So Matthew's coming out with Gibson's Villain. His kennel name is Knox, so you could potentially hear him calling him Knox. It's not the wrong dog, it's just his nickname that he uses. Had the pleasure of having Matthew down at our dog trial down at Dubbo last year, and he took away the Improver title with Knox. Time's on. He's away down to the right. He's got his eye on the sheep. He's coming round. Sheep has spied him. Knox is coming in tail up. Sheep look like they're mesmerised with that tip on his tail. Great lift. Little trot from the sheep. Knox is there just to hold them. Still just leaning. Just got their shoulder in front of him as they turn right, then left again. It's the all-important introduction. A little wag of the tail from Knox. He's having a great time out there. I'm sure Matt is too. Great to be in the final with your home state supreme. Jeez, he's responsive to the whistle from Matthew. It's a good start. Coming up towards the delivery area in good time. Just a reminder again, that delivery of the sheep, they need to come down past Matt's left shoulder at the casting peg, all three sheep, and then that peg that's behind Matt, 9 metres behind him, that's the balance marker. All three sheep have to cross that line before Matt can step off. So that line runs all the way to the fence. So if the sheep come on the outside of that rear peg, that's okay, it'll just be a course point. But at the handler's discretion, they're still right to take off. Anyway, we're not quite there yet, as Villain's got a fair bit of distance on the sheep right now. He's got some quick movement, doesn't he? As they come around, across the line, downhill he goes. pulled up nicely, just a little bit off course, but that's alright. Just a little trot further away. Feeling goes down towards the pen. He's just going to come around, balance up to Matt. You know, they have a little bit of ground to cover if these sheep try and make a break for it. But he's quick on his feet. Look at him, keeping an eye on the sheep. He hasn't even put the hammer down properly yet, but he's way off his sheep at the moment. Matt will want to bring him in a little bit just to re-engage properly with the sheep and just get them to start trickling down the hill towards him. Still just taking a little bit of ground, walking towards centre court at the moment. Knox is coming in, just passing the bridge. Little bump from Knox. It's a wide breaking dog, little slip in the dust. Even though it's the last couple of days of winter, it is dry up here in the granite belt. It's been a bit of a tough season. Matt's approaching the gap, and that handle is set that he needs to stand in once he gets there. Sheep are just coming down parallel with that inside line of the course. Knox is keeping in their eyes. Yeah, he's got a little bit of time up his sleeve if he can just gentle them around. But just at the moment, they don't quite seem settled with Knox. Matt's aware of that. He's going to have to watch that break on the outside again. They've taken it off him. He's going to have to renegotiate again. He might even try and roll him through the gap. Well covered by Knox. Sheep closest to us did have a look, but you know, that taller sheep's taking them away. They're back towards the gap now. Through they come. Knox has got the hammer down. Matt's using a combination of voice and whistle commands. Knox comes back in to re-engage. It's interesting, there's all the dogs down the bottom are having a little howl, wishing him good luck. It's interesting the different dogs and the distance that they can control the sheep from. Knox has a fair bit of presence on the ground, and he does have an effect on the sheep from quite a distance. That's alright. We just like to see them affected towards that gap to start with. While they're slowed up, this is looking a little bit better. If Knox can get around there quickly. Still not in a bad posse. Of course, we'd like to see them just come a little bit centre course to look at that gap that they've already been through. Trying to cover that inside break. Geez, Knox covers the ground quickly. Get around there quick enough. That's looking good. Well done. Matt's turned towards the race. Just the tiniest of overruns there from Knox. Back on the job. Sheep have paused a bit. Matt's walking with some purpose towards that race. Now we're just starting to go through the Bermuda Triangle of carries. It's difficult getting past this let-out yard area as we go past the first half of the Dogpro sign. He's doing a great job holding him up with Matt. Let's keep our fingers crossed it continues. They look like they're in a pretty good position with the handler on this carry. Let's hope they just look straight through. Here we go, 1, 2, 3. They're just about in the mouth of the obstacle. Knox comes around, bumps them in, and they're through. Matt's really saved some time there. That's great. We just need a little settle from the dog and the sheep. He's just going to try and gather him up before he takes off. Just a little shuffle in the set. Matt's going for it. He's going to rely on Knox to start to carry these sheep up towards him and then give him a little push onto the course as he heads up the hill towards the bridge in our position up here in the studio. Just keeping an eye over his left shoulder as he's starting to approach about halfway up that carry to the bridge. Sheep coming back on course. Just nice and gentle now. That's very good. Knox is covering that inside line very well. He can feel the weight from the sheep, and Matt's well aware of it as well. Starting to pick up a little bit of pace as they just run through where Matt's got to finish up that walk at the hoop. Sheep are having a little graze. Still facing the dog, so he'll be in their eyesight. They shouldn't get too much of a surprise when he comes back in. Sheep at the back's got his eye on the dog the whole time. 3 heads down now. With that good carry to the race, Matt's gained a little bit of time back in his pocket. It's still ticking away, but he didn't really lose too much time at that obstacle. As Knox comes in, head down, tail up. Just carefully walking forward. You can hear Mac still working the whistle with him. Staying very composed. Even though you don't have physical contact with the dog, they can feel you. If your energy's up, sometimes a lot of the time that'll bring the energy of the dog up. And in this 3 sheeping game, you need to keep your nerves, give your dog the confidence in you, keep them calm, keep them listening, keep them concentrating. So we approach the bridge. Knox is coming around the downhill side. There's a little peek around this outside panel. Let's hope Knox gets around to stop that. Just come uphill of that outside part of the bridge. 1 head down, having a little graze. I'd just like to see that gentle roll down now, wouldn't we? Just so they just tickle into the front of the bridge. Attempted break. Knox stopped it. Here we are now, situated in front of the bridge. Just a little wobble, left, right. Remembering as well, the handler can't help their dogs in this. On the Australian trialling, once you get to your set, you need to stand still. You can turn around, of course, to watch the action, but you can just help your dog through command and encouragement. The test match and the Ted Gaby Interstate Challenge that we saw on the Trans-Tasman course, the 2 middle sections are what we call the New Zealand rules, and you are allowed to help your dog. But here in the championship at the 2026 Dogpro Supreme, it's all the dog. Little duck through between the obstacle and Matt. Number 2's followed his mate. Number 3's going to have a turn on the bridge. Now the dream would be that guy stays there and his 2 mates roll around and come up the ramp to meet him, but he's come off. Let's hope he's saying, come on guys, the bridge isn't that bad, follow me. We'll give Matt and Knox a bit of a hand to finish it. Just looking at that outside line of the course, just a little step outside, Knox is there. Hardly a breath of wind today, just the gentlest of breeze. It's a better position. Let's see if that middle sheep might have a look at the bridge again. He was the one that went over. Got pushed aside by the outside sheep. Similar position to where we were before. Sheep having to graze, Knox is holding them at distance. He's going to have to come back in as he is now. Just trying to get them to roll around and just walk calmly back to that course. They've got such a fine small window of opportunity. Dog a little bit too close or a little bit too far away. They'll either bump the sheep or they'll take advantage of that small space from the dog that they've stepped back, for instance. As Knox comes in. This is looking a little bit better. Just starting to trot a little bit again. Knox come around. Can he pull them up? Just rolling away from the dog a bit, which caused him to have to run a little bit further to cause a block. Here he comes. Matt's well aware of that bubble around the sheep. He's just trying to keep Knox right on the edge of it, not causing a trot, but he'd just love them to walk right now. So we've chewed up a couple of minutes at the bridge now. We're in a very good position now. That sheep at the back of the group's the one that went over. Let's see if he might think about it again. Ever so slightly turning their heads to the left, but they're still aware of Knox there behind their left shoulder as he comes in. Still just squeezing past the front of that obstacle. 2 heads down, that rear sheep just had a quick look. Unfortunately, it's time for Matt and Knox, and we'll have the scores shortly. Alright, our next finalist coming out to the peg is Al Horde, all the way from Tasmania, running his dog Wongaburra Flossie. Al was also in the Interstate Ted Gaby Challenge at the start of the week as he sends Flossie out to the right, running one of Flossie's offspring in the interstate competition, and now he's got Mum out here in the final. Just a little break out to the right from the sheep as Flossie comes around. He's putting the pressure on the old girl. She's just about ready to wheel him. She's got on the shoulder and a little break back towards the let out. Just making the dog work a little bit along the fence. I've got a little sentimental attachment to this dog, Wongaburra Flossie. She was bred by myself and my wife, so she'd be coming on 9 in November if my memory serves me correctly. She had a very successful trialling career down in Tasmania. She broke her status early. Now she's got hold of the sheep. Al's just going to try and let things settle a little bit. Just let the sheep appreciate the dog, understand she's no threat. She just breaks out to the left to cover that uphill run. They're going to have to start coming towards Al. Flossie's just skating around the fence, just to get in that good position on the sheep, just to try and bring them centre ground across that first carry to come around to the left hand side of Al. Team Tasmania's had a good time up here at the Supreme Championship, with Al getting into the final. His teammate Bernard was given the privilege of being the judge manager for the test match against New Zealand. So Flossie just drops down to her left a bit. Wheeling the sheep around for a delivery. They're just about to cross that balance point. Al brings her back around behind him just to give them a little encouragement forward. They step forward. I'd be satisfied that they've crossed that line now. Just going to try and tickle them to turn to their left a bit. They do. Just coming around on that counterclockwise run. Now Al's off. Got them in a nice position now. Al might accidentally have a little bit of influence on the sheep as he's walking down, as they're pretty close to him. Flossie's there just to hold them. I'd like to see them peel back around. Just jump in at Al's right hip pocket for the carry down to the gap. Sheep have got different ideas as they're wheeling on course. If Flossie can come around and hold them, that'll be terrific. They just come off course on the outside, just leaning on the dog, heading towards the shade of that tree in front of the Warrego signs. She's pulled them up just at the base. They're still testing her. And taking it turns at the moment, giving the dog a bit of a hard time. And again, you can see how sensitive these sheep are this week. Owls are just trying to keep things quiet at the moment. Flossie's been doing a great job holding these sheep as she moves around, starting to take position to try and drive them back towards the obstacle. Still just been a little bit difficult to move. Got their feet stuck in the mud just at the moment. Al had Glen Murray, Sammy in the Ted Gaby competition. Now Mum's out here on the Supreme course. Just even though they're on the incorrect side of the gap, they're positioned well at the moment. They're not far away from it. We'll see what Al's plan is, if he's going to try and use the gap or just roll them around the outside of that right-hand panel. He's just moving Flossie a little bit. Bring her in. You can see as soon as the dog hits the edge of that bubble, there's always some sort of movement from the sheep. It was a nice little gentle squeeze forward. Turn back. Right near that gap. If Flossie can just get in that exact spot, they might just turn to their left, come through the gap, and then set up for Al and Flossie. Just a little roll around. Look again. Nope, dart, cover. Through. Al read that well. As Flossie comes around top side of the course. They've just taken a little bit of ground backwards, so he's still not guaranteed yet. He's got a bit of work to do to successfully get that first obstacle. As Flossie comes out outside top side of the course. About 5 years ago, Al and Lee bred a litter by Steele out of Flossie, Sammy, Lucy and Toby. All successful dogs, and I'm pretty sure I'm correct in saying all in their own right open dogs. Through the gap they go. One lagging, clear. When Al's ready, he can step off. He has used a little bit of time gathering the sheep to negotiate this first obstacle. That's behind him now. He's got to concentrate on the carry to get to the next obstacle, being the race. Good start. Little trot from Flossie as Al steps out. Keeping an eye on the action. Little break forward. Flossie's coming in. Perhaps a little bit too tight. The sheep have stopped. If Al can just wheel her around to her left, just to guard that attempted break towards the let outs. She's doing great moving around in front of that Dogpro sign. Good position now. Want to see him start rolling forward towards Al. Join back in on the carry. Couple of heads down. Just like to see the sheep moving. When you're out there in the middle of the ground in the heat of the moment, that 15 minutes can go pretty quick. You're just taking a path out on the outside of the race. Flossie just takes a stop and lays down. Up she's just edging him forward. That's how you want them to move. Let's see if they roll into the mouth of the obstacle. Good position. Flossie's in good position. That taller sheep's looking down towards the let out. I'm not too comfortable with it. Stepping back onto the dog a bit, but not towards the let out. You'll notice our competitors have got the Dogpro bibs on. It's honouring the sponsor. Dogpro and the Hypro group have been on board with sheepdog trialling in the mainland for many years now, and we appreciate that support. As they're still trying to just make it hard for Flossie going down the outside of that obstacle. Coming back in. He's getting a little bit tough for the dogs towards the end of this week. The sheep have not let up. they're taking it downstairs, down towards the Queensland sign. Flossie just popped out under the buggy that the outside Judge Roy Pottercare is using. That's all right. Flossie works on some hills at home at Al's place in Tasmania. So that'd keep her pretty fit. Thing that might be different is just the heat. Even though she's born in Dubbo, she spent all the time down in Tassie. I feel the seconds ticking away. This looks a bit better. Just doesn't quite have the luxury of time now. Al would be aware of that. I'm pretty sure he does carry out timer as well. He'd called her where we are at the moment, probably about the halfway point. Still not comfortable to walk off the dog. As I say that, they are looking at the race. This is looking much better. Little trot through, 1, 2. Now number 3's clear. As Flossie comes down and around. Al's off. As we've seen, hasn't been an easy carry up to the bridge, but Al's making this look pretty easy at the moment. Let's hope it keeps going. Flossie's working that outside. Just a little dart inside, back up. There you go, the sheep. Flossie lives in Tassie. Her mum came from Bathurst and her dad came from Western Australia. She's got quite a pedigree. Koshi Silver was her dad and Yandara Safi was the mum. She's coming up to cover them now here in the 2026 Dogpro Supreme Australian Championship Final. Coming up past the box. It's a little bit of work to take them back down to the bridge. Little trot on, she's going to have to wheel them, and she does. She's got a bit of distance to cover just to pull them up. Just closing that space now between herself and the sheep under our supervision. Got the sheep lined up in hide order at the moment. Doesn't matter which one wants to take the bridge first. Let's just hope it's one of them takes his mates with them. Just Flossie covers the inside. This is looking a little bit better. I'd just like to thank the Queensland Working Sheepdog Association for such a great week up here in Stanthorpe. Their position in front. It's a little raise of the voice from Al. They're looking at the bridge. Just about on the ramp. That lead sheep turned away and pushed his mate at the back out. Flossie comes up on that outside of the bridge. Just trying to wheel the sheep back down. Oh, he's run out of time. Bad luck, Al. Great effort. Sheep weren't making it easy for Al and Flossie as he calls her away. Good on you, Al. Well done, Wongaburra Flossie. Next competitor stepping out is Grant Cook from Western Australia and his dog Grass Valley Winger. Winger carries the Grass Valley prefix, which is Grant's. That means Grant bred this dog. Just holding Winger in place as the sheep are released. Winger's pretty keen to go, but the bell hasn't gone yet. Good control from Grant. You can see how keen these dogs are to work. Grant just reminding Winger he's in charge. Takes a right hand cast. Sheep are just set just towards the right of that let out area where the flags are as Winger comes down around the outside. You describe this coat as a white and black. A little bit more white on the dog's body than the black. It doesn't matter. So Winger just takes a couple of steps forward, just covering that attempted break from the sheep. This is a nice start. Just trotting up the hill, but they're staying centre ground at the moment. Good distance off the sheep. Just a little roll, but staying in centre. Coming towards Grant. Grant's had a big program with his team of dogs this week. He's a West Australian representative for the Ted Gabe Interstate Challenge. And congratulations to Grant and his teammates for taking out the shield for the interstate competition. One of Grant's other teammates, Simon, was in the final as well, first run out with Twister. Now Grant's out here. Grant was also selected in the test match team to compete against New Zealand with his dog Gilbert. The sheep are coming up, just slightly unsettled. Winger's there to cover and hold them. Grant's got many miles under his belt with the high level trialling, very experienced. Very strong moving dog, Winger. Just that break out to the left again by that single. The other two drag them back downhill a little bit. Winger's there to cover. Just need to start the wheel and back up towards us a little bit for that first part of the delivery behind Grant. They're coming along well. Through they go, delivered. Winger comes down from the downhill side to cover. Grant will make his decision when he's happy to step off. Responsive to the whistle, Winger is. Oh, she's quick on her feet. Great cover. Kept sheep on course. Little dart from the sheep out towards the pen. Just come off course a bit. Oh, geez, Winger's quick on her feet. Just sliding across the ground to a stop. Reminiscent of a baseballer coming into home plate. As they take that break up just behind Grant. Winger's coming around. Bang, gee, she's great to watch. Grant can't stop walking. He's going to have to get Winger to bring the sheep to him. I need to close that gap. He's probably around about halfway down the carry now. Got the sheep delivered in good time. Just like to see them settle a bit. Winger's a very powerful moving dog. Good size dog, not too big, not too small, but geez, when she puts the hammer down, she puts it down. I don't think there'd be many sheep that could actually beat her in a foot race. Look at that. Turns on a dime. So Grant's starting to get closer to the set as he just gently walks past the sheep. Maybe just the slightest roll off Grant as he had to walk past. He couldn't stop. They're coming back on course. Winger's going to come flying around. Kind of wish I could think of something funny to say about dog and the wings and flying, but we'll worry about that later. I'll just steal that one off Danny. As he said, Red Bull gives you wings. I don't think Winger needs any. She's got a lot of energy. The sheep trying it on. Winger's there to hold. Just like to see them roll back in, of course. Had a look. This is the challenge. Grant's been out there a lot of times this week. He knows they're going to try, as they're doing now, that break across the ground. Ooh, they're just looking inside that gap between Grant and the panel. Nice cover, through they go. Wingers around. Just like to see them pull up, of course, before Grant takes off. And that's what I think he's thinking. Just get the dog engaged. Nice position now as Grant takes off. As we can hear Grant just asking Winger just to stay out of it a bit. Now let's see if we can just roll them forward. Just taking a little trot. Winger's up to the challenge. Got the speed, got the energy. Now they're just kind of leaning on Grant a little bit as he loosens up, bringing her to the clockwise, but she's got to come back and block and hold. Oh, gee, she's like a cutting horse, isn't she? As we see our outside judge, Roy Potter-Carey, just coming along to the outside of the Dogpro sign. He'll take up position and judge the race as Grant's coming forward. Oh, nice cover. This is exciting stuff here in the final up in Stanthorpe. Just a little break down the outside. Single. Two mates are still there and Winger's there to meet them. Let's just have another turn, guys, and go down the middle of the race this time. It's quite an esteemed list of competitors in this final. Number of state reps, experienced handlers. As the sheep negotiate, just having a little celebration jump as they finish that race. Good on them and good on Winger and Grant. Turn around to start looking up towards the bridge now. Clearly at this point of the course, the sheep have still got a spring in their step. So does Winger. Grant knows how important it is to keep the dogs in tip-top shape, especially after a big trip from Western Australia over here to Stanthorpe in the Granite Belt. There's a lot of preparation that goes into it, which includes their food. And I know Grant uses the Hypro Grain Free, supplied by Dogpro and Hypro Group. The sheep just making a little break out towards that inside of the course. Winger's there to cover. Grant's coming up closer to his set now. We can hear those clear whistle commands from Grant. In a good position there. Just looking, those two sheep looking at Grant, and maybe an escape between him and the obstacle. They've acknowledged the bridge, but oh no, just be quiet, John. Nice roll around. Still looking. Just asking Winger to come in. Two on the ramp. Third one's following. Well done, Winger. Well done, Grant. Turn for the pen now. Winger's there to meet them. Grant's away, so of course, like we said before, he has to keep walking now. Sheep have relaxed a little bit, putting their heads down, but Grant's well aware the sheep have been trying to make that break down the hill again, as in previous runs. But right now, doing a terrific job guarding that downhill side, or the inside of the course, as we call it sometimes. Let's just hope they keep grazing across. Grant probably approaches the halfway mark now, so do the sheep, so do Winger. Still on course, little trot. Winger's there. Still just as fast as when he sent her up when the bell went. Gee, she's in good shape. Still on course. This is looking pretty good. I actually can't stand still at the moment. It's quite exciting. Just a little break back. Ducked on the inside of the course. Grant's just about to step into the set at the pen, keeping an eye on the sheep and Winger. I think Grant has some good time up his sleeve. I hope he does. About 4 minutes to go, so as the sheep are looking at the pen, just looking at that outside corner, Winger's there to meet them. As we've mentioned before, it's no advantage to finishing earlier. Oh, a little break around the outside of the pen. Two stayed in front. One's almost stuck behind the gate. So the other two are just trying to make a lazy breakaway, and that third sheep's still staying behind the gate. Grant's aware of that. Just keeping an eye. It's got the pace up. Don't want this single to drag his mates further away. He does a little bit. Winger's covering that uphill break. They're looking downhill straight away. They're not giving this dog a break at all. Winger's up to the challenge. So's Grant. Probably just tickling along closer to 3 minutes now. One of those sheep grazing, looking at the pen. Little turn. They're just on the hinge. But certainly at this point in the competition, we know that's not a guarantee. Well done. Let's just hold our breath for a sec. Grant's left. Let's grab the gate. Winger's there holding position. Well done, Grant. Well done, Winger. We'll see the scores come up very shortly. Terrific run. Congratulations. Okay, here comes Anthony Moore and his dog Collie Creek Fleck. Anthony is somewhat local, being one of our Queensland members. Anthony's had a good campaign so far. Anthony and Fleck won the Improver Championship just yesterday, and now they find themselves here in the final of the championship event, 2026 Dogpro Supreme Open event. Out he goes. He's a nice looking dog, isn't he? He's only a young dog too. He's only about 16 months old, and Anthony's well aware of that. Just met the sheep, just in front of the Stanthorpe Show announcer's box. I was talking to Anthony this morning about Fleck. He said he's just got that easygoing nature on the sheep, which you don't often see in a young dog. And Anthony's also aware of the pressure this trialling can put on the dog. He's going to do his best to look after him as well. The sheep just take a little trot up just towards the pen. He's going to want to wheel them back towards the casting peg like he's doing now. You see he's Flex fairway off his sheep, but just that nice soft moving dog. Alert ears. It was a pleasure watching him yesterday in the Improver final. He listened to Anthony well. Anthony's a firefighter, originally from Orange in New South Wales. Life brought him up to Queensland. Flex just carefully, quietly, just coming in towards the sheep. That big tall guy in the middle just keeps looking away. What are you going to do if we come out towards the left? Just walking onto the dog now. Flex up. Answers that little challenge. Oh, that's beautiful. Dog was well aware of that movement towards the centre, and he was stepping before the sheep even finished. Fleck carries the Collie Creek prefix. One of our earlier finalists, Matt Parsons, him and his part Gina, that's their prefix. They used Anthony's dog, Sonny, over one of their female dogs. Fleck's got the prefix and Anthony's got the dog. Here they are today in the final. Still not making it easy. Done a good job to get up here, and now they keep turning back on Fleck. Thinking about an escape down to the yards. He's covered that little uphill break, but they keep walking back on Fleck. Better position, ever so slightly coming up the hill, but they're still not satisfied. They want to come up towards us. Try and take Fleck back down the hill with them. Starting to warm up a bit more up here in Stanthorpe as the day comes on. 1:45 in the afternoon here in this final. Geez, wouldn't you like a young dog like this, mature beyond his age, as he comes in to meet the sheep. Head down, stepping quietly. Just starting to drag Fleck towards the right of centre again. A little dart left and right, just a little split. Oh, that tall guy's leaning on Fleck a lot. Taking him down towards the gap now. This is a heavy break. Outside the gap, Fleck goes. Coming around there anti-clockwise to cover. This is going to start to chew some time now. Essentially it's going to be a re-deliver. Anthony's aware of time. He's just getting a little bit more animated, trying to encourage Fleck in, just trying to support him. It's probably funny, you don't realise how many people do provide that encouragement with their dogs while they're working out here on the course. Might be a good boy or a good girl. As Fleck covers that split again. Going to regroup. It looks like they're going to try and drag themselves behind the obstacle. They do. Turn around. Let's try the yards this time. Fleck's there. Telling him he's a good boy and he's trying hard. Anthony's just getting the fidgets up in the set. Sure, I wish he could go down there and help the dog, but unfortunately he can't. Fleck's going to have to bring him up himself with Anthony's support from up here at the casting peg. Sheep taking Fleck towards the centre. Turn again. We'll try the outside. They're going to lean back again. Some of the granite belt corellas just fly across in the background. Probably going for their afternoon feed as Fleck's starting to wheel the sheep just gently up towards Anthony. He's got them just about to halfway up again. The thing this does, it just uses up some energy from the dog as well, of course. Now they're just sort of skating across that latitude across the middle of the ground. Now he's got them just slightly coming up. It's looking a bit better as he comes to his left. Just don't let the dogs have a break, these sheep. So they're coming up to a better position, but they're still leaning on the dog, even though you wouldn't think so from that distance. As they make a little break back down the hill, Fleck just fired up a bit. There's a split. He's covering the two. That single's still rolling down. Anthony's going to be keeping an eye on that. Let's hope the single comes back to the two, but they're going to think the other way. It's great work. Fleck just got on the outside of the eye of that sheep, and you see he's coming back to join his mates. There you go. This is a better position to start on the completion of the delivery. Just skating in front of Anthony. So they've probably got about 4 or 5 metres to come up to get to that delivery position, which will be coming around Anthony's left and then behind him and across the point of the balance marker. Still not making it easy as close as they are. Two heads are turned. That middle sheep seems to be controlling the play at the moment. Just a little roll around. To the right and to the left of Anthony, they're back towards the centre of the ground again. This looks a bit, they're still thinking out to the side. It's almost like watching birds fly and change direction together. The sheep are doing the same thing at the moment. They're looking good now. He's just going to hold Fleck. Send him around on the clockwise. Sheep are delivered. Anthony's using his whistle. Judge Ken Robinson's just come out to talk to Anthony. Made the decision to pull the pin. Great effort from Anthony and Fleck. Terrific young dog. He's going to have a great time in the future with him. Out on ground now is Martin Waddingham from Tassie with his dog Nolan's Digger. As I mentioned before, Tassie have had a good time up here. Martin was also in the Tasmanian team representing his home state in Ted Gaby Interstate Challenge with Waterlea Ace. Now he finds himself out here in the final with Nolan's Digger. His time's been rung on by Judge Mr. Roy Pottercarey. Sends Digger out in a good right-hand cast. Sheep are held up in the middle at the moment. 2 heads down, 2 heads up now. Here we go again. Leaning on the dog early. Pulled up in a nice position now. Centre of the ground. Martin just gets Digger to lay down for a sec. Just ease off the pressure off the sheep. Just let them take a moment. We would love to see these sheep walk straight up to our direction now. Naturally, they've got other thoughts. He's got a lot of presence about him, Digger. Martin knows that and he's just managing him. The sheep have come up well though. Martin's quite aware of that area and that pressure zone where Digger can and can't go. As the sheep come up a little bit closer to the delivery, they're just taking a little trot just away from Martin. Digger finds himself behind the bridge at the moment, slips in, back in view of the sheep properly. They're just walking onto him. So they're lined up well for delivery. Just asking him to stop, just let the sheep have the ground. Now they're just pulling up. Martin and Digger are going to have to make this happen now. They're watching the dog. 1, 2, 3, turn away. Just a little step downhill. Dig's there to cover with the help of Martin. You can just feel at the moment Watching the sheep, they were just in that position where they could potentially squeeze through between Martin and Digger. They're looking better now as they come past the balance marker. Nice arcing run from Digger. Just gently finding himself in place as Martin steps off. Just trying to slide the sheep on course. So if you're not aware of the judging, I'm not going to judge this run, but essentially the more time the sheep spend out of the corridors, they're off course, and that may be costing points. So they're on course now. This is looking much better. Just in front of Martin. He's going to want to try and get Digger to squeeze him. They've just taken a step off course again. Martin's got a fair bit of presence on the ground as well. I'm sure he is quite aware of that if the sheep are close to him, like just when he passed them just a moment ago. So making away on the course, they're going to try and slide out the other side, just a little bit outside as Digger comes around to meet them. So getting back to what we were talking about, judging and points. For instance, if you're walking down one of the corridors and the sheep are continuing off course and moving down every 9 metres, we call this a 9 metre course. Every 9 metres they move off course. It is a point that will cost you. So the aim of the game for that perfect run is straight line up to you from the pickup, delivered around the back, and then staying on course the whole time within a 9 metre semicircle on your right hand side, and then flowing forward. It sounds easy, but it's not. But looking for that perfect run is what we're all trying to do. As the sheep just make a break down the outside of that right hand panel. Single still trying to make a break. It's that really special dog that can settle their sheep. And you'd almost bet if Martin backed Digger off a metre or two, the sheep would take advantage of that space that they've given. It's very hard to balance that all the way around the course. So sheep closer to us was thinking about having a look towards the obstacle, now stepping forward on the Digger again. They're in a nice position now, looking at the gap, negotiating. They're through. Obstacle number 1 complete. They're just rolling back around towards their right in the shade in front of that rain and horn sign. Digger's there to meet them, just guiding them back towards the corridor that Martin's going to start walking along next. On the Supreme course, the competitors need to walk on the line that the markers create between obstacles. You can even see, I'm not sure if it picks up on the camera, but coming down to that first obstacle, you can see sort of the wear mark where everyone's been walking for the last couple of 100 runs down to that first obstacle. So Martin's taken off, maintaining a good pace. Can't stop till he gets to the race. Digger's doing a great job keeping them away from that let-out yard as they take a bit of ground from Martin, trotting forward. And you'll see as Martin gets closer, that they're actually on the uphill side of Martin's walk line at the moment. And once he gets a bit closer, he'll start getting Dig to move around and start to drive him towards the obstacle. It's getting around there well. Just need to bring them up a little bit to get to the mouth. Still on course, just probably about 2 metres and outside, and call it 4 or 5 back from the entrance of the race. Just trying to trot. Well done, Digger. Just asking Dig to get off. There's that little dart around the outside of the race. Look like they're in a good posse now. Just depends on the frame of mind of these sheep. It's looking a little bit better. They're lined up for Martin. In a great spot there. Just like to see them tiptoe forward. The lead sheep just turns around, his two mates pushing back, another spin. Another bit of a jostle, they still go through. Second obstacle done. It's coming uphill, Martin's away. They're just leaning up the hill, just still trotting along. Martin's walking up about halfway towards the bridge now. Martin also uses a working stick. You're allowed to use a stick no longer than 18 inches long while working your dog. Give it commands. Now the position the sheep are just making that little break towards the outside of the course, but had those sheep negotiated the obstacle before Martin got in the set and completed it, he would have had to rework it. Just had a hint, they thought they might start to nose up, but they didn't, of course, as you can see. It's almost like there's a sliding glass door in front of this bridge today. Sort of feels like the sheep aren't willing to look up. Just calling Digger out a little bit. It's there to cover an attempt around the outside of the obstacle. Pull them up. It's just such a balancing act to be able to stop the dog and get the sheep just to settle. Always trying to make that little break for it. It's just these sheep this week. They're really going to find a person that really earns their points this week. Let's bring them back on course. Dig comes around on the anti-clockwise. So while Martin's at the obstacle, it's the same for the others as well. Once you're in the set there and negotiating your obstacle, if the sheep go past it, there's a point system for it as well that you might lose points because they'll end up coming off course and not negotiating the obstacle properly. So if they stick a nose around, it'll be 1 point. Halfway down the obstacle is 2 and right around is 3 points. That single went around the top of the obstacle. The other two are dragging him downstairs back towards the race. They're making Digger do some running today. It just shows you, even in a 15-minute run, it's pretty intense. The dogs are taking a lot of commands off the handlers, trying to aim for that precision. Stop, go, come left, come right. Set in front of the bridge. Got their heads on the wrong end at the moment. Martin's just trying to let them take a moment. Love to see them roll. Sheep on the right's thinking about an inside turn. Centre sheep pushed through. It's not quite at the ramp yet. Positioned well in the mouth of the bridge. Turn left. It's a full turn left. Here he goes. 1, 2, 3. Great persistence from Martin and Digger as he turns for the pen. Just getting Dig to hold for a sec as the sheep trot forward. Remember again, Martin can't stop walking. The way things have been going, that's not a bad spot to have the sheep on the high side. It's just bringing Digger back around. He'll start to get the sheep coming forward towards him and walk with him towards the pen. You can see again just that moment touching the edge of the bubble. Martin comes past the sheep now. They're on the inside of Martin. They need to come back on his right to get into the pen. Just asking Dig to keep off. We'll trot forward. What are they going to do? You've got three options, left, right, or just go in the pen. He's looking left. Digger's there paired up with Martin. Martin can only use his voice, whistle or hand signals. He can't influence the sheep. It's Digger's roll. This is looking nice. We're in the pen. Are they going to stay? Martin's left. Grab the gate. Digger's coming with him. Well done, Martin. Well done, Digger from Tasmania. A very rare pen today. Congratulations, and that persistence at the bridge paid off, and we'll wait for the score. Our second last finalist here at the 2026 Dogpro Supreme Championships of David Lacey with his dog Brands Hatch Tusker. They're away. Dave and Tusker have had a very big program this week. Dave and Tusker are in the Victorian team in the Interstate Challenge, Ted Gaby Interstate Challenge. And then from that competition, we selected an Australian team with top 4 individual scores, and Dave and Tusker were lucky enough to be in that group and had the honour of representing Australia here this week against Tasmania in the test match over 3 rounds. And then Tusker's having his third run in the championship event. I keep saying it, but these dogs need to be fit. And as they come through their trialling career, they've developed that mental resilience as well. It's only a couple of hours ago, Dave was running the third round of the test match with Tusker. Went back, gave his dog a well-earned rest. And now Dave's got to regroup. And remember the course he's on, the Supreme course, not the Trans-Tasman. Dave's very experienced. He'd be well aware of that. As the sheep are just milling a bit, just a couple of steps left and right. They pull up in front of the Stanthorpe Show announcer's box. Red and white dog tusker, medium coat. Bred by Julie Burkett, New South Wales. He finds himself residing in Victoria with Dave and Vicky. Sheep is still questioning Tusker at the moment. Don't really want to leave that spot. Little split. Fortunately they turned uphill, not downhill. Singles rejoining. Little shuffle from Dave in the set. Little shuffle from John in the announcer's box as well. Starting to make a little bit of progress up the hill. Just slowly as they turn, spin. Just leaning on towards our right again, leaning on Tusker, and they did make a little bit of progress up also. Stamp of the foot from that centre sheep. Quietly and calmly, Tusker still comes in, making their progress towards the delivery. In a bit of a diagonal fashion though. Takes a lot of skill to steer these sheep this week. Here they come. This looks good. Leaning out towards our right again. Tusker's there. Another stamp. It's quite soft in his movement during this delivery, Tusker. He's got a relaxed posture. Sheep just questioning the dog a little bit. I wouldn't really say it's the dog upsetting them. The sheep are just the way they are, because I don't know, I've got nothing. As Tusker comes around, they're just coming around Dave's right hand side. They're going to have to come in that anti-clockwise path to come back to the delivery area to negotiate the balance line. On the better side, just leaning downhill a bit, probably taking 3 or 4 metres off Tusker. But you can see the way Tusker's holding himself. Doesn't look very predatory. He's got his head held up neutral position, tail down, soft on his feet. Oh, great bit of cover. Sheep are in a good position here as they approach that balance marker. Just a bit of an overrun pulled them up. Just spun them back around on their right. So just probably lost 2 metres there. But now that gap's open on Dave's right arm as he's facing us. Now they're right. Whenever Dave wants to, he can step off. They're in a great position right now. Dave pops the whistle back in his mouth. Sheep start to aim towards the pen just at the moment. It'll lean back on course, but we know what they've been like. They're looking across the corridor. That bigger of the 3, the heavier one in the middle. See if we can keep an eye on him if he does turn out to be the leader throughout Dave's run. Just a little bit heavier set in the shoulders and neck. See if we can identify him again. There he is, trotting away. Little dribble off course. Catching a wheel from Tusker. Dave's just starting to approach that halfway mark. Sheep are back on course. They're going to take Tusker on the top side of the course now. As he comes around. Dave's just got him covering the downhill part, as we've noticed over the week. Comes around, sheep are putting the foot down. It's running down towards the gap just outside the corridor. There's Tusker on the bottom side. Sheep are actually positioned very well. Dave knows that, and he knows the sheep can't go through before he gets to the set, otherwise you'll have to rework it. So he's just on that last little bit now to get towards the set. I'm sure he'll start to ask Tusker to come around as he gets there. Still have the sheep looking towards the obstacle, which is a great spot to be in. Moving forward, just leaning towards the outside. Around the right hand panel they go. Tusker scoops between the fence and the sheep. I'll block them up. Now they're going to have to work hard to get them back towards the gap. Starting an inch closer back towards the obstacle. Still not convinced that's the way they want to go. Tusker's there to encourage him. Dave's watching closely, hands in his pocket, hand signal for the dog. Just still turning back. Oh, they looked at the gap. They just scooted past as Tusk comes around. Dave's bringing him around. They're looking at the gap. A little overrun. Just turn away from the centre of the obstacle as they make a break back. Runs like a young dog, he does. Head up, looks happy. Starting to get a little bit costly on time now. I'm pretty sure I saw Dave with the timer attached to his Dogpro vest. It's one of those talking timers. Just needs to control that sheep on the right. I think that might be the one we identified earlier. As Tusker comes around, they're looking at the gap. Just doesn't want the sheep to get away, but they've negotiated the gap. Dave's off, heading towards the race. Tusker's pulled him up. He's going to have to bring him back on course. This is one of the challenges with the dogs when you're training young dogs. Their instinct is to try and catch the sheep or head the sheep. And then as you're training and they learn more and become more educated, they'll take that command over their instinct. As Dave approaches halfway. As Dave's walking along, he's keeping on that line where the markers are. Tusker's doing a great job negotiating that carrier across the let-out yards, identified with the Dogpro signs. Just ever so slightly on the right-hand side of the race. Now they're lined up a little bit better. Probably about 2.5, 3 metres. 1, 2. Just wait for number 3 to enter. Oh, carefully with Tusk. Oh, geez Louise. One's out. 2, 3. Now when we're starting to talk about the finer points of the scoring, that potentially would have cost a little bit with that early departure from Tusker to catch the sheep and stopping those other two in the obstacle. That's not for me to call. That's what the two judges are out there for. Sheep have just got their feet planted a bit as Dave's coming up towards the bridge. Loosened up. They're taking Tusker on just outside the corridor. They're lined up fairly well with Dave. They just need to come back in those markers on that outside where you can see that Sheep's got its back feet out now, they're on course. As Dave gets a bit closer to the bridge. They're walking nicely now, just looking behind Dave. Yeah, they're going to take that little break behind him as he steps into the set. Wheels around. In front of the bridge, good position. Just got to manage this part carefully. They're still looking at that gap between Dave and the wing of the bridge as the outside sheep turns, wheels and pulls his friends up with him. 1, 2, 3, they're off. Got a bit of time back in his pocket. Good on you, Dave and Tusker. Excuse me. Just a little turnaround from the sheep. Tusker's coming around. Just to turn them back in the direction of travel. That's that sheep we identified before. It's a bit of an individual. Potentially the leader of the three. Approaching halfway mark between the bridge and the pen. Probably just a little bit further ahead than Dave might like. Looks like that leader's looking towards the outside right of the pen as Tusker comes around. Change direction. Thinking about maybe going outside that gate. Tusker's guarding it. Dave's about to step into the set any moment. As Tusker comes around, Dave takes up position for this final obstacle of his last run of the championship. Wheel to the pen. Don't want to say too much yet. Just a little spin around in the pen. It's not over until the gate's shut. Oh, they're just starting to edge out. Stamp of the foot. So once the sheep cross the line of the pen and are in the pen, the handler can come and close the gate. Dave was quite aware of the state of mind of those sheep as that single takes a lap around the back of the pen, dragging the friends away. Just losing a bit of ground, starting to lose time now. So at least Dave still has an opportunity to complete the pen. If he went for that gate while those sheep were unsettled and they ran out, he would have lost the point value of the pen, which is 20 points as they take another lap around the right hand side and downhill. Feel your pain, Dave. Taking a bit of ground off Tusk now as he wheels back around, throwing some dirt up in the air. Time's starting to get away from us, of course, towards the end of the run. It's about 30 seconds to go. Still possible. Let's keep our fingers crossed for Dave and Tusker as they come back close to the pen. Trying to dart away between Dave and the dog. Good position. Just taking that outside path again. Let's hope those two staying in though. Slipping out. Hands on the hips. As Tusker steps in. Last attempt. Unfortunately, no pen for Dave and Tusker here in the 2026 Dogpro Supreme Australian Championship Final. But what a program they've had. 9 runs over the week. It's a massive effort from Tusker and a massive effort from Dave to be able to stay composed the whole time. So congratulations. All right, last competitor out in this 2026 Dogpro Suprema Chain Championship Finals, Bill Davidson from Tamworth and his dog Grass Valley Flake. Bill's stepping out to set Flake. I had the privilege of watching Bill and Flake 2 years ago at Geelong take out the title. Back then, 2 years ago, Bill had a big program, judged the novice, and I had good fortune with Bill in the novice event down there, but we'll talk about me later. Bill also judged the Ted Gaby competition, and then was the judge manager for the test team in 24, and still managed to keep himself in a great position with Flake to win the title back then. Bill comes in on the lead score of 160 into this final. And we'll keep our fingers crossed that he has a great run. Bill also was a state representative for New South Wales with his dog Wachillaba Rain, and found himself in the position of reserve for the test team. Bill's another experienced trialer from New South Wales. He's had the privilege and honour of representing New South Wales and Australia on a number of occasions. He's travelled to New Zealand for a test match. Now Bill finds himself out here, last competitor of the championship up here in the Granite Belt in Stanthorpe, Queensland. If anyone's interested, some pups that we've got at the moment. Flake's the grandma on the father's side. So let's keep our fingers crossed for John and Jackie that good work and skill comes through in our pups. This Flake comes around back centre ground. That's right, Danny. They need good training as well. I don't know whether they'll get that at my house. Bill's just checking the watch. He's got the timer on. It's warmed up for this last run of Bill and Flake. Just a little break, leaning on the dog a bit harder now. She's got to come around and block him in front of that bridge if she can. One wheels around the outside, finds itself lost from its mates, rejoins, trot towards the centre. Bill's just going to try and settle the situation. Let the sheep look at the dog. One of our other competitors in the final, Grant Cook, he bred this dog, carrying his Grass Valley prefix. Bill got her as a pup, brought her home to Tamworth, trained her up, find themselves here in their second Supreme final. Sheep are positioned well at the moment. Bill scratches his face, just trying to scratch the nerves away. It's a little roll around from the sheep. Flake comes around. Just trying to encourage them forward a little bit more. They probably need to come forward another 3 metres or so to be able to be in that good position to come past the balance point. Look downhill. A little break up the hill a bit, just a little bit further away from Bill. Bill's experience. He knows he doesn't need to panic. He knows he's got a good dog. He's just got to read his stock and help Flake out. Check of the watch. Apart from the traffic driving past the showgrounds, it's very quiet over the grounds. Who's going to have their name on the 2026 position on the Supreme Cup? Little lick of the lips from Flake as she comes in. She's soft on the sheep. Roll. An attempted downhill break. Flake's there. Bill's aware now. He's got to guard that position between Flake and him at the moment. Sheep is still not delivered, and the potential will be when they do pass that balance line, do they want to break back towards their left and the let out yards as they approach the balance marker. Outside Sheep's having a little nibble. Looking at Flake. Bill can take off when he wants to. Just getting Flake around. She's got to put the hammer down. Sheep are making a break. Down the inside the corridor they go. Flake's there to meet him. Little split. Corner out. Trying to get him to regroup as he takes off towards the gap. I'm pretty good mates with Bill, so this is very exciting seeing him in the final. Just trying to ease those sheep back towards the corridor. Leaning on Flake. Billy's probably about halfway down, a bit over halfway to the gap. He's going to pass the sheep. Probably try and get Flake to get the sheep in behind him. But, oh, there's a fight on the dog. Oh, she's a tough dog. Just about made a pancake out of her as she's up covering again. Bill's just about to step into the set. They're trying to make a breakdown in front of him. Flake's there to hold him, but they're still leaning back towards the let-out yards. That's where those great Dogpro signs are, rolling around towards the course. Bill's bringing her around the clockwise, try and keep them on course. They're going to lean towards that right-hand panel as they've been doing all week. She's there, she's got the gap covered, but they're still leaning out towards the outside of the course. There's a split. Tension's starting to come up. You can hear it in Billy's voice. What a great final this has turned out to be. Starting to get a little bit tough on time here with the sheep doing this on this run with Bill and Flake. Run across the course again. They're trying to get back to that let out. Flake's left, right, stopped, hold, stamp of the foot, coming forward. She answered the challenge. Got about 7 minutes to go. They're looking at the gap. Pull her up. They're through. Got hold of them. About 6.5 minutes to go. It is possible from that point to get her around in time. You've just got to manage the flow of your sheep. We're walking up to the challenge area now. Let's call it the let-out triangle. That last sheep was just having a look down. Flake's covering that spot well. As they move past the halfway mark of the carry and the gate of the let-out in the middle of their two Dogpro signs, coming forward towards the race. Flake's had to work hard up until this point too. Bill's aware of that. he calls it behind the sheep just to cover that inside break, and they're looking downhill now. Flake comes down, flicking a bit of dust up behind. Oh my God, how good is that, ladies and gentlemen? Straight through, got some time back. Just a little trot outside the course now. Bill's going to just bring them back. He'll step off any moment now. They're just on that marker of the course. Away goes Bill. Pardon me. Here comes Flake up at the inside line. He just rolled on the outside, but we've had a lot of weight on the inside as Kenny Robertson takes up position quickly. That quick negotiation of the race just caught Kenny, and he had to catch up so he can judge the carry up to the bridge now as they're looking towards the outside in the ringside cafe. Flake's there, Bill's approaching his set. Calling it quick. Back out, he says. Telling her to stop, look at the watch. Just under 5 minutes. In a good position time-wise. It's just a matter of what the sheep are going to do. They're going to make it easy or they're going to make it hard. Scratch of the nose from Billy. They've looked at the bridge. 1, 2, 3 are up. 3 are off. Great work from Bill and Flake. Now he's really clawed the time back. It's the last roll of the dice now. We're heading to the pen as Flake comes around the back of the sheep on the anti-clockwise. Bill now pulls it around clockwise down the hill. Guard that inside line. It's Kenny's parallel with Bill coming across the pen, and here comes our outside judge past us now. Flake comes around top side. Bill's heading towards the pen. Probably about halfway there now. See that sheep holding its head low. Just wants to have a chew. Little trot up. Send it down inside. Guard the downhill. Bill's corner. Back to him. Bill was right onto it. As Flake comes around the outside of the pen. Bill's approaching the set. They're in a great position here. This is almost too much for me. Just a little mill around. They're in a great spot right there. But Bill knows what's been happening all week. He's had the pen a couple of times with Flake already. Had a couple of pens in the Ted Gaby. He just needs the pen here. 2 sheep have their heads down. Ooh, ooh, ooh. They're in. Bill's desperately calling her back. They're in a good position. Their heads are in towards the corner. Bill's stepping out. He's quietly grabbing the gate, lifting it, taking any rattle out. He's closing the gate. What a run from Bill and Grass Valley Flake all the way from Tamworth up here. Last run of the 2026 Dogpro Supreme Championships. Oh, that was too much for me, and we'll get a score shortly. So you just witnessed Great control under pressure. Last run out was all in front of him. Pressure was on. Bill Davidson, Grass Valley Flake, taking out first place here in the 2026 Dogpro Supreme Championship, finishing on a score of 222.5 over Ben Simmons in second place, all the way from South Australia. Thanks, judges. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you at the presentation.